All right, welcome back to a new episode of the Jon Gil Podcast Show, and it is 2021. We made it out of the worst year ever, 2020, right? And I want to just go ahead and start off by saying on this episode, we're going to be discussing goals, vision, gratitude, and just basically preparing us with the right foundation to actually accomplish everything that we want in this new year. But before we get there, I want to quickly go ahead and reflect on the last year. 2020 has been tough. We've had our challenges. Actually, we haven't done, I think our last recording on the podcast was around November. We did some on-site vlogging. If you guys haven't seen it yet, go and check it out. We were at the Visceral Dance Center. We also were at Maloma's inaugural open. We have another one that's coming out. But I had to leave out to Colombia because, unfortunately, I felt the effects of COVID firsthand here with my dad. He passed away. He was with me for the last 2 months, and unfortunately, he got sick on the last few days, and I had to go visit him in Colombia. But I'm just thankful that I had that amount of time to share with him and be with him, so that, he's been gone now since December 15th, so it's been about 3 weeks. But anyway, we're going to get through this with that in mind, just being able to appreciate time and the value of time, and just being thankful, because honestly, the fact that I was able to be with him those last few moments just is a great reflection on how to live life. It's just another great way to just appreciate everything that you have and step into this new year with that gratitude, with that appreciation. And that's why I want to focus on, just using that as momentum, our gratitude that we made it through, to, push this off into making 2021 our best year yet. So the first thing I want to talk about is our goals, right? If you haven't already done it, if you haven't done affirmations, go ahead and write down at least 10 to 20 goals that you want to accomplish this year. And it's not just about writing down goals, right? I mean, you want to have a plan that takes each of those goals and understands how you're going to accomplish and tackle each one, right? So you can break that down into a 3-month, quarterly goal. You can do a monthly goal, and it all depends on really, and then you want to make it sequential, right? So and take baby steps. So the way that I set up my goals, and the way that I think that you should be doing as well, is if you have an income goal in mind, start off there, right? Okay, you want to make $100,000 a year. $100,000 a year is $8,333 a month, right? So you have to at least be making that. And then you want to break it down even further and say, okay, well, what is that a week? That would be about $1,923 a week. And say in about a 7-period day, if you were to work 7 days a week, that's $274 a day. And if you break that down into hourly rate, that comes out to about $30.52. So the expression time is money is absolutely true when you break it down into that specific moment. And if you are doing something that is not bringing you or advancing you to that goal, then you have to rethink your priorities. So that's for rule number one, step number one, 100,000. But then dig deeper. Why is it exactly that you want 100,000, right? Is it because you have, say, $60,000 worth of expenses and you're trying to save an additional 40,000? And then you have to think, what are you going to be doing with that 40,000? Is it to invest in real estate? How are you going to move that money along? So it's great to have a specific investment in mind. If it's just savings for the purpose of savings, that's also a great way to. That's actually a great strategy also. I mentioned in my last podcast that I was trying to save up just $100,000 so that I can invest into the right deal once it came along. And I would blow every, $2,000, $3,000 into the stock market. I didn't know what I was doing, and I would lose it all. So I ended up creating the discipline so that I could then grow that $100,000 pot. And then when the time came, I can attack on the right deal. And that got me exponentially more returns in the long run. So that's what I would do as far as your goal setting, right? Work backwards, find out how much money you actually need for your monthly expenses, and then try at least to, and here's another thing too, try to make this year the year that you're actually saving up money. We learned a lot last year that things can happen, totally unexpected things can happen out of left field that is going to change our plans dramatically. So if you don't have a contingency plan, then, which most of us don't, you're basically setting yourself up to fail. What I'd recommend is take that experience and use that to save as much money as you can. I'd even say save, your first $20,000 to $30,000. You don't need $100,000 really to invest into real estate. And I keep mentioning real estate because we're real estate centric here. Obviously, I invest in real estate also, if you didn't already know. And that's where I see most of the actual big returns coming from. All right. If you're not in the finance sector and if you don't know how to trade stocks. So that's what we're going to do. And then create the vision. What is it exactly that you're looking to accomplish in life? And how is that, say, $100,000 year goal going to advance your overall vision? If you are doing something that is not advancing your 3 to 5 year long-term goal, then again, that's something that you want to rethink. And it's not to say that don't let the 3 to 5 year also distract you from what you have to do this year, and not just this year, but what you have to do on a daily basis. So let's go back to that 100,000 year goal. When I was in real estate, when I just accomplished getting my real estate license, I knew that I wanted to make 100,000. So that meant that I'd have to make at least $8,300 a month in order to make that happen. So I broke that down even deeper, and I said, all right, well, the average commission at the time was about $4,000. That means, okay, well, I have to close 2 deals. Actually, it was a little bit more than that because, at the brokerage I was at, they take a portion of the commission, and don't forget you pay taxes at the end. But we're just talking gross right now. Keep things simple. So I said, okay, I have to do 2 deals. Now, if I have to close on 2 deals, that means for every, the ratio is pretty tough. It's like for every 100 calls I would make, I would probably get like 1, possibly 2 leads. That means I had to make about 200 phone calls I would have had to make about 200 phone calls in order to at least get 2 solid hot leads. All right. And then you break that down even more. How many calls can you make a day? I was actually at another company before I got into my real estate. I was making 130 calls a day, and that was insane. The average that I realized I could do was probably about 30 to 40 a day. Other than that, I got kind of burnt out. But if you talk to any salesman, they're going to probably ridicule that. But my point was, okay, so that means if you're doing about 30 to 40 calls a day, right? And you need to at least, and it takes 200 to get 2 leads. Well, you just do the math. That would mean you're going to be like about 2 to 3 days, you're finally going to get on 1 prospect or 1 solid deal. So technically in a week, I should be able to accomplish getting 2 leads. And well, that didn't really work out that way, but that was the original thought process. It turned out being actually like a lot worse than that. And then I realized that the best way to really get deals was just through leads generating from your managing broker and referrals. But the point is, that's how you would break down your income goal and your break down exactly what you're doing each hour, right? So, you have to make X amount of calls per day, and maybe you can only do about, 5 to 10 meaningful phone calls per hour, and that gives you additional time to catch up on emails, etc. So you want to have everything very meticulously laid out if you really want to advance your overall vision and be aligned with your end of year goal. Okay, your targets. All right. So Going back to originally what I said was just as you're doing that, don't ever lose sight of the bigger picture because it gets very boring sometimes when you're at the office or, you get discouraged because people aren't answering your phone calls, or you feel that like you're spinning your wheels. It feels that way. But the reality is that in the long run, as long as you are doing the same thing over and over and you're chipping away, you will see the returns. And it's in real estate, for example, it's very random. You never know exactly when that next deal can pop. But when it does, it makes all of that hard work be worth it. So, I hadn't gotten a deal. I hadn't closed anything in like 2 months. On the third month, finally, I closed something. I would say that the first month I didn't get any leads. The second month I finally got a deal under contract, and then it closed on the third month. But the point is that in anything that you do, eventually you're going to see the results. And again, a space shuttle uses the most amount of energy on takeoff. But when it's in orbit, it glides. That great expression. That's true in any sort of business endeavor. So anyway, I just wanted to leave that off there. I want everybody to make this year the best year ever. It's still going to be tough. The virus or whatever. Thank God they have the vaccine. That's great. So things will eventually get back to normal. But hopefully that's going to be by maybe April or May. So in the meantime, let's use this time that we're still at home, while people are still quarantined, while restaurants are still closed, to grow our business and to focus. Because in the end, that's what it takes: focus and discipline. All right. And anyway, as always, if you can, please also check out our Instagram, the Jon Gil Podcast. We'd love for you to go ahead and subscribe there. If you got any questions, write that in the comments. If you can, please give us a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much, and make 2021 the best year.